Got a civilian here. What the heck?
When you're caught red-handed, your first instinct isn't usually to cooperate, it's to bolt. And guess what? That usually just makes things worse. But sometimes the suspects manage to outsmart the cops. Here are a few times when that actually happened. On August 12th, 2022, deputies in Bridge Creek, Oklahoma responded to a welfare check. The call was about a woman acting strangely in a residential yard. The call came from Dale Moses, who reported that a woman named Rachel Zion Clay was behaving bizarrely, crawling on all fours, barking, and shouting odd things about God and a child they supposedly had together. But the thing was that Dale had only met Rachel the day before and wasn't sure what to make of her behavior. When Deputy Williams arrived, he spoke with Dale and his son, who explained that Rachel wasn't being violent, but was clearly not herself. They suspected she might be off her medication for a mental illness. Attempts to help her earlier that day hadn't really gone well either. When deputies approached Rachel, they found her exactly as described, on her hands and knees, mumbling and yelling things that didn't make much sense, like, "You let her die," and "I'm not human." She refused to answer basic questions or cooperate. Dale and his son spoke to the deputies and told them that Rachel had shown up at their house earlier with Dale. One of Rachel's friends had confirmed she was supposed to be taking medication for a mental illness, but had run out and refused to get a refill, and now they couldn't control the situation. So, regardless of the reason of her erratic behavior, the best course of action would be to detain Rachel. They handcuffed her and secured her in the back seat of Deputy Williams's patrol car. And this is where things pick up. While the deputies are outside talking with someone, Rachel Clay's sitting in the back seat of the patrol car and starts getting busy. First, she unbuckles her seatbelt. Then, you can see her working on the handcuffs, trying to slip them off. And yeah, she actually manages to do it. She slips her wrist out of the cuff, reaches through that little partition in the plexiglass, and starts messing with the front seat of the patrol car. And then she grabs the patrol rifle from there, a fully loaded one, with 20 rounds of .223 soft point ammo. For the next few minutes, she's just sitting there, tinkering with the rifle. At one point, she turns and looks right at the deputies and the civilian, rifle in hand. She even points it straight at them, but she doesn't pull the trigger. Instead, she lowers the rifle back onto her lap and starts messing with it, trying to figure out how to use it. If you watch closely, you'll notice the dust cover on the rifle is still locked in place, showing she wasn't quite ready to fire yet. Clay raised the rifle, pressed the muzzle right up against the patrol car's glass, and fired 10 shots. 10. Deputy Williams was hit in the head, and the civilian, the reporting party, took a round to the chest.
She wouldn't even take any water from us or anything. Yeah. Ow! What was that? Oh! Man, Danny, I'm hit right here. I'm hit? Yeah. I'm hit right here too, Danny. Hit in the head. 2615 County, we got shots fired up here. We need backup immediately. Start EMS. Start EMS. We got a civilian. Got a civilian hit. What the heck? Did she get out of her cups? No. Did it go in? Stay in. You see her, Danny? You got eyes on? Huh? Shots fired. Get over here. Get over here. Your dad's hit, man.
Even after all this, Clay doesn't stop. She stays in the back seat, clutching the rifle, refusing to come out. And if that's not enough, she starts writing bizarre notes on scraps of paper she grabs from the front seat. Stuff like, ambush, ambush, kill any cop, and call the Pentagon. 3.5 hours later, she finally stepped out of the car and surrendered. They took her into custody and transported her to Grady County Jail. Luckily, both Deputy Williams and the civilian survived. Blood tests later showed that she was high on meth, which explains a lot about how she was able to pull this off. The sheriff's office is already making changes like moving the gun lock to a safer spot to make sure nothing like this happens again. Rachel Clay now faces 3 counts of shooting with intent to kill. Her bond is set at $1 million. This all went down on October 18, 2023 in Orfordville, Wisconsin. Deputies brought in Quantrell Schwartzlow, just 18 years old, facing some pretty serious charges like sexual assault, strangulation, and battery. He wasn't too cooperative when he got to the Rock County Sheriff's Office. At first, he refused to talk, but later, as they were preparing to move him to jail, he had a change of heart and agreed to be interviewed. Schwartzlow was left alone in a second-story interview room, and while he was standing there, handcuffed, he spotted a window. So, what does he do? Without missing a beat, he dives out, head first. And that too, while he's still in handcuffs.
Oh, no f***ing way.
It wasn't until about 14 minutes later that the detective came back to the room and realized Schwartzlow had vanished. It took deputies 4 hours of searching, but they finally caught up with Schwartzlow and brought him back into custody. This time, there was no way he was getting another chance to escape. On top of the charges he was already facing, Schwartzlow was hit with a felony escape charge. Fast forward to April 2024, and he pleaded guilty. He's now serving 4 years in prison, with 4 more years of supervision waiting for him after that. On December 5th, 2022, just before 2 p.m., a Milwaukee police officer was conducting a traffic stop near Holton and Keefe. While speaking to the occupants of the vehicle, the officer noticed something unusual. His own squad car was suddenly moving. He quickly realized the squad car was being stolen. The officer immediately radioed in, reporting the theft and providing the direction it was headed.
Looks like somebody just stole my vehicle heading northbound. Okay, did you take your vehicle? In front of the vehicle 106 heading southbound on Holton Street. Lights are still on. Holton what? Holton and southbound. Off the Keith.
In route.
Yeah. We have GPS on that car? Yes, there's GPS on the car.
526 on what? That squad number again? You said 106?
Berline Richards, the guy's running westbound. Berline Richards, it's a white male, blue jacket, blue jeans.
An officer spotted the stolen squad car, but before he could close in, the driver jumped out of the moving vehicle and vanished into a nearby alley. Backup wasn't far behind. When another officer arrived on the scene, a nearby resident flagged him down in the garbage can. The man, 34-year-old Daniel Barton, was arrested on the spot.
"855, come up to the alley." So I was like,
Put your hands on your head.
"Put your hands behind your back."
I don't have a case, so sorry.
Barton was charged with a misdemeanor and let go while waiting for a mental health evaluation. But in February, he missed his court date, so a warrant was issued for his arrest. But there wouldn't be any need to go look for him. Why? Because May 30th, 2023. On Capitol Drive near Estabrook Park, Shorewood officers were conducting a routine traffic stop, but in the middle of the arrest,
some of his traffic stuff. He's got just some warrants. And if I can give him a new...
Cody. What? Is that your squad?
What the fuck?
That's your squad.
908 dispatch.
the officer radioed in after noticing his vehicle that the squad car parked just feet away was driving off. Witnesses nearby reported seeing a tall man with long hair, someone they said looked like Jesus, jump into the vehicle before taking off. The car was abandoned a few blocks away near Capitol and Holton. Thankfully, it was undamaged, but the cops had to find the suspect quickly. A witness pointed them toward a Planet Fitness building, and moments later, the man was in custody. Barton admitted to stealing the car. Barton shared more during questioning. He's homeless, often seen panhandling on Capitol Drive, and said he's been professionally diagnosed with schizophrenia and paranoia. On that day, his impulses got the better of him. After his latest arrest, Barton was released again, this time on a $500 signature bond. Under strict conditions, he must attend regular check-ins and isn't allowed to operate any vehicles. If convicted, he could face serious penalties, including 9 months in jail for each charge. He's now under court-mandated treatment with a deferred prosecution agreement in place. Their goal is rehabilitation rather than incarceration. How did it lead to this? Well, you see, on October 18, 2016, near McClintock and Southern in Tempe, officers were called to check out 2 suspicious individuals. When officers arrived, they quickly found one of the suspects, but as they searched for the second, a man carrying 2 duffel bags came into view. That's when the situation escalated. The man took off, leading officers over fences and through backyards. You can see here, the officer doesn't let up, chasing him even through tight spaces and uneven ground to close the gap.
Where's out, Devin?
After what looks like a long chase, the officer finally caught up to him.
Put your hand behind your back. Put your other hand behind your back. You gotta grab it.
The man was identified as 22-year-old Devin Bess. Investigators say he broke into a nearby home, stole multiple items, and even wore the victim's clothes during his getaway attempt. Bess left behind personal items at the scene, which made identifying him much easier. Devin Bess then faced charges of burglary and theft. Thanks to quick action by Tempe officers, stolen property is being returned and the suspect is off the streets. While these suspects may have tried to outsmart the system, their decisions ultimately caught up with them because justice doesn't just rely on luck. Don't miss the next episode of Real Life Moments from the Front Lines. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more body cam breakdowns.